Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, Fit Disciples Podcast, and Happy New Year. Today we're going to be talking about are ultra processed foods or lack of exercise the bigger problem with society in general. Okay, let's get into it. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for being with me. If it sounds a little funny, I am in my garage gym for reasons of space, but also because it's going to go along with today's topic a little bit. Okay. So one of the big things that we're going to see or we are seeing in social media and with fitness just in general is that there are subject matter that are very, let me just say, scalable. There are certain subject matter that are really clickable, that it garners a lot of attention. It really brings in a lot of abilities to monetize. It really just kind of sets a trap to get people into this complexity project and process that is not maybe as relevant as needed. So the problem that I see, and if you have followed me for any amount of time, you'll know that I fall on both sides of this argument. And we're going to get into it. Which is worse, ultra processed foods or being sedentary? And I've talked about this quite a bit in previous podcasts, and I'm going to talk about it again because I see it so much on social media. And as I try to grind out a little niche and presence on social media, by the way, go follow me if you don't follow me already. It's at Adam Bro. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all of them, okay? Even Substack. I'm trying to write, for an illiterate Cajun from Louisiana. I'm trying to write. But I fall on both sides of this subject matter. But the thing is we're seeing this thing more and more and more the longer I get into it. And the problem is this, and I'm reading, just so you know, because I want to make sure that I get things right, and I don't want to seem like I'm just shooting from the hip, okay? So the public conversation treats diet details such as like ultra-processed foods, seed oils, sugar as the primary threat to your health. And look, I've even done teachings with clients and corporate clients about the dangers of ultra processed foods. They are a real thing. Okay, they are. No two ways about it. Okay, but the focus often comes at the expense of fitness. Let me say that again. The public conversation online, in the news, if you still watch that, depending on where you fall, on what side of the aisle you fall on, I guess, is diet complexity, detail, and, getting just the right combination of this or that without really getting into the fitness aspect of things, all right? But the evidence would support the opposite. And we're going to get into that really quickly. I'm going to try not to be too long. I haven't been on the podcast for a couple of weeks. We were on vacation and, we're just doing holiday things. But in 2026, I think this is going to be kind of my mantra. The evidence does not support the way the conversation is going in most instances. Ultra processed food intake is associated with a small increase in all-cause mortality, meaning just the chances of dying of anything probably a little bit early. Okay? Low cardiorespiratory fitness, like cardio, is associated with a several 100% increase in all-cause mortality. And we'll get into the studies, okay? So this is the thing. Are ultra-processed foods a deal? Are seed oils a problem? Is sugar intake poison? Potentially. Now you get onto certain social media platforms and you got your characters from the concerned naturopath who's really just trying to make everybody healthier, but gets in these little rivers, these little tributaries of health, and acts like it is the main current of health, right? Where it's like we're getting on seed oils. Are seed oils potentially bad? Potentially, yeah. Something happened in 1970 that made obesity and everything start shooting up. Was it ultra processing? Potentially. Was it adding seed oils? Potentially. Was it diluting protein and increasing energy dense fats and carbohydrates? Potentially. Could be all those, probably some combination of all those things. But what I fail to hear from the most belligerent, like, gonna just make fun of you if you think about going on a carnivore diet kind of clinician thinker. And if you know probably who I'm talking about. To the nicest, just trying to get everybody healthy, very accommodating influencer, the focus is still on diet. And diet is important. Let me just say that. Diet is important. What you put into your body is extremely important. Unfortunately, it's not as important as having a fit body when you weigh out the evidence. Now, am I saying diet doesn't matter? Absolutely not. I just said that, right? So, but what I am saying is the conversation is highly weighted to one side where the evidence is not weighted that way. It's literally the opposite. Okay, so let me get into it a little bit, okay? Oops, I just spilled my coffee. Perfect. Great, I'm not gonna freak out on camera. How's that sound? Okay. Let me see, Mo. Okay. So what do the studies actually show? There was ultra-processed food and mortality. The study was Fang, F-A-N-G, et al., the British Medical Journal in 2024. The name of the study was the Association of Ultra-Processed Food Consumption with All-Cause Mortality and with all-cause and cause-specific mortality. How was the study done? It was a large U.S. cohorts followed over time, so a large group of people followed over time. Participants were divided into groups based on how much ultra-processed food they consumed. The highest consumers compared to the lowest consumers is what they did, okay? The deaths tracked over years with adjustments for common confounders, which are probably like lifestyle factors, smoking, diabetes, those kind of things. The main finding was people in the highest ultra-processed food group had about a 4% higher risk, 4% higher risk of death from any cause compared to those in the lowest group. So the absolute risk context. So many times when you hear there's a 60% risk of colon cancer if you eat processed meats, that 60% is a relative risk. So it's a 60% higher chance of colon cancer, like based on the next percentage point, basically. So it's like really difficult to parse out. But roughly 1,472 deaths per 100,000 persons in the years of the lowest group compared to roughly 1,536 deaths per 100,000 people in the highest group. That increase of 64 deaths per 100,000 persons over the years of the study, okay? So a 4% increase in risk. Not the biggest deal, right? Not mind-blowing. But if we were to get into the echo chamber of X and Instagram, the comment section, any carnivore community, vegan community, scientism community, where scientism is like You only believe in it if there's a study or science can prove it. That's scientism. You would get into there and be like, this is the only thing that matters. But again, it's a tributary to the larger flow of what health actually is. It's not the main vein. It's not the Mississippi, right? The Mississippi is like the fifth largest river in the world. But we're acting like, what was Thompson's Creek in South Louisiana is now the Mississippi, right? They don't even connect. So that's what happens in these echo chambers is we get this thing where it's like you have to focus on getting the seed oils out, getting this out, and those things are important. This study would confirm that there's a 4% increase in mortality, roughly. And every person genetically will be different. Some people will be more predisposed to getting fatter, getting sicker off of ultra processed foods than others. But relatively speaking, 4%, not a huge deal. Okay. So, how do we understand this? Ultra processed food intake is associated with a real increase in risk. The increase is modest. The effect operates at the margins rather than as a dominant driver of mortality. Now, combine that with what we're going to talk about next, and you get a double whammy. But let's get into this. Cardiorespiratory fitness and mortality. The study Mansager et al., that's Mandsager et al., and the JAMA Network from 2018, the study name was, and I realize I'm just giving you two studies, but much of this information this pattern can be borne out over lots of different studies, okay? I'm just giving you the most stark ones to make the point, okay? And I'm gonna be honest about that. There's a lot of other studies, but I'm gonna give you the most drastic ones because they make the point I'm trying to make, because I want you to see it. I'm not trying to convince you to do what I'm saying. I'm just trying to convince you of the importance. The name of the study was the Association of Cardiorespiratory Fitness with Long-Term Mortality Among Adults Undergoing Exercise Treadmill Testing. Okay. How was the study done? Over 120,000 adults underwent treadmill testing. That's where they put you on a treadmill, they put all the junk on you, mask and beeps and airflow, and they measure everything, okay? Participants ranked from the lowest fitness to elite fitness based on their performance on these tests, okay? Just like low ultra processed food or high ultra processed food. Low fitness, high fitness, okay? How they define that is based on your VO2 max. Probably anybody who is above like this top 60% in VO2 max and below the 40%. Okay. What were the findings? Individuals in the lowest fitness group had about a 400% increase. 400% higher risk of death from any cause compared to those in the elite fitness group. This corresponds to roughly a 5-fold difference in mortality risk between the extremes. How do we understand this? This is not a subtle effect. Low fitness multiplies multiple times over your risk. Very few lifestyle variables show effects of this magnitude. Smoking would be the next down in negative, right? Low fitness and smoking are like the two things we know without a shadow of a doubt are going to make you die earlier. Okay? So in a side-by-side comparison, think about this. High ultra-processed food intake is associated with about a 4% increase of all-cause mortality. Low cardiorespiratory fitness is associated with a 300 to 400% increase in all-cause mortality. These are like not even comparable in scale. Like they're not even on the same planet. Ultra-processed foods on the moon and fitness is on like Mars. They're They're billions of miles apart here, okay? So the question is, why does diet dominate the conversation? Is it important? Absolutely. Like, all you have to do is follow me on social media and you'll see, like, I eat a very specific way. And I still eat junk. I still will go and have some fast food from time to time. Like, I had Cane's the other day. I'm from Louisiana. I was in college when they started the first Cane's at LSU. I'm eating some Cane's, right? My kid loves Chick-fil-A. Am I being a bad parent? Maybe in your mind, but according to this study, nope, right? So diet is still important. It is huge. And for some people who have particular genetic risk variances, it may be even more important. I get that. I'm talking about middle of the road, average American. So in your mind right now, you shouldn't be saying, yeah, but my dad. You're comparing one person to studies with 100,000 plus people. Your one experience is not to be smeared across the average. Okay? It can be noted, it can be noticed, it can be observed, but it can't cause the entire argument to shift. So what is the point here? My point is I'm trying to attack this obsession we have with diet and lackluster focus on fitness. Okay? The sheer fact of the matter is, and I don't tell people this very often, especially as a coach, because many people use it as an excuse, and I hope you don't. But people who are more fit just have more margin for more junk. Like, people who run, do a lot of cardiovascular type exercise and lift weights regularly, and they do it at an intense level, they can just eat crap that you can't eat when you're sedentary. You just don't have the margin. The number of people I know who perform at an elite level, who will be smashing Chick-fil-A and chicken nuggets multiple times a week and drinking sodas, even sometimes smoking dope, drinking alcohol regularly. Are those things good for you? No. But they're still hugely fit, like abs popping. They got more cardio than you. They're fit. They can get away with more. Now, will those things pay a price later? Probably, in some form, at least in some percentages. But they're not the whole conversation. That's the point, right? The point is that diet has become this thing, and I'm going to explain it right here. The reason why diet dominates the conversation while fitness seems to be neglected. There's a few people online that I know who are really attacking this with a little bit of vigor. But this is the thing. Diet change requires thinking and almost no strain. It like presents you with a puzzle to figure out that you can just consume more and more and more content in this never-ending hole you're digging to find the most perfect way. Like, I actually heard a lady say, one lady actually asked me, I'm going through menopause. What dietary changes can I make to reverse that? She literally thought that adding this or that to her diet or taking away this or that would make her biological ability to have children, because that's what menopause is. It's a woman transitioning out of her childbearing years, where the uterus goes dormant and you no longer make eggs. You are no longer fertile. It happens to every woman through all of history. Eve went through menopause. And she literally thought she could change it by having some cabbage soup, maybe. right? It's gotten elevated to this point. And my point is this: it offers no proof. It is not difficult to keep digging down the rabbit hole of diet. And it's why it gets, that's why if I got on here tomorrow and just literally went down this rabbit hole and started talking about the dangers of this or that, like if I just started hammering on seed oils and I just started hammering on the conspiracy of seed oils, which there might be one, okay? The conspiracy of sugar, the conspiracy of vaccines, like if I started getting into that stuff, I would skyrocket my engagement. But I'm not willing to do that. Why? Because it's not the conversation. It's part of the conversation. Okay? Fitness, on the other hand, requires discomfort, time, repetition. You're not passively consuming more content that's biasing you towards what you think. You actually have to get out and work, which is hard. Consuming content, overstimulating yourself with dopamine, and then letting the algorithm passively assuage your concerns with more and more data that confirms your suspicions is easy. That's why everybody's doing it, right? Nutrition debates offer complexity, novelty, and a sense of mastery, right? Like, oh, I've got this. That's why I get so mad at even the science-based guys, because what they'll do is they think they are masters of the literature and masters of the information. So they berate people, call them stupid, morons. So they have this superior like point of view for themselves over somebody else because they think they've mastered this. That's what diet offers. The diet debate, anyway. Fitness, however, exposes your weaknesses immediately. And you know what? Quite honestly, because this is my thing. If you can't make it to the gym a couple days a week and do cardio for an hour once or twice a week, you have no business thinking you're healthy because you have your diet in place. You move the needle by potentially 4%. Fitness exposes your weakness. Clean eating can become kind of a moral substitute for physical capability. Think about this. Diet narratives scale easily through media and marketing, right? And you can literally, I see this all the time. And this has happened to me. I have done this, where you lift weights, you look great, your diet is in check, and you think you are healthy, but you still cannot run half a mile. This study with a 400% increase in all-cause mortality did not study my bench press or your squat. It studied your capacity to deliver oxygen to your muscles, your cardiorespiratory system. Are muscles important? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. They are like structural, they're metabolic, hugely metabolically active. They change everything. But they're being worked when you run, too, right? So the diet narratives scale easily. That's why so many people get into it. That's why so many people are like, it's all this conspiracy. Yeah, there's conspiracy. Yes, people are trying to make money. And yes, people are going to make money on our health. We are the commodity, right? I get that. But focusing on it to the exclusion of your fitness is laziness. It is absolute laziness. It is psychological and physical laziness, because the studies do not support it. Fitness requires accountability and sustained effort. You know who you're accountable to? The treadmill. You're accountable to the barbell. You're accountable to that hill you're going to sprint because it's going to tell you the God's honest truth. It's not going to let you get by with, I had 150 grams of protein today. I had 0 seed oils. My carbs were at around 20 or 50 each day. And, I was in ketosis. I had 1.2 millimolars today, which all is great. And I'm making fun of it because I get into it. I get sidetracked with it. Like, should I be on keto? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Like, I get it. It's because it scales, it clicks. The curiosity, the complexity, the puzzle. It's addicting. Okay? It's addicting. But it doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. You know what matters? Can you charge up that hill and not die? Right? If someone were to come in right now and try to fight me and rob my house, would I have the physical capacity, cardio, strength, all of it, just the physical capacity to fight like a wild man for the next 20 minutes? And if the answer is no, you're not fit. You're not fit. That hill doesn't care if you had ribeye with no seed oils, right? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Your ketosis does not make you fit. It just doesn't. I don't care what anybody says, right? Is it helpful? Sure. But like 1%, 2%, 10 maybe, right? Cardio, 400%. It's amazing to me. Like, I am blown away by it. Just my own distraction with it. Physical deconditioning is obvious and uncomfortable to confront. This is why it's so much easier. It's so much easier to get online and doom scroll fitness, like diet content. And like, I'm working on food stuff. Like, I want to make a cookbook. I want to do this kind of stuff. I love it. But it's not the whole argument. And just lifting weights is not enough. It's not enough. And lifting weights with a high heart rate, not enough. Right? Like doing circuit training, not enough. You need to be able to get after it. And I'm not saying, you might be hearing this and being like, well, I can't do any of that. Well, you got to start. You got to start somewhere. My point in telling you this is this very specific thing, is that stewardship is a command, like it's a command in the scripture. We are supposed to steward the temple. First, Peter talks about how we are a royal priesthood, a holy nation in Christ. We are a priesthood. The priesthood took care of the temple. 1 Corinthians 6 says, I am the temple. And if I am not taking care of this temple, I am not performing my duties as a priest to my own life and to my family, to my church, to my community, to the house of God. If I am a priest who does not take care of the temple, I am not performing the duties of a priest. It's not just about prayer. It's not just about fasting. It's not just about solitude and journaling and worship. All that's beautiful and necessary. 100%. Like, you've got to do those things if you're going to be a Christian. But you also cannot be obese and say that you are doing all the things a Christian should do. Stewardship requires that we take care of the temple. And in order to take care of the temple well, it requires that we be intellectually honest and work on the things that matter most. Okay? 1 Timothy 4:7. Listen to this, have nothing to do with godless myths and wives' tales. You can kind of put a lot of the diet debate into the godless myths, wives' tales, hearsay, blah, 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 blah. But he says, train yourself to be godly. So discipline yourself to be godly. Okay, where am I going with this? You'll see. 1 Corinthians 4:8 says, for physical training has some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. The reason many people will be like, well, he said it has some value. He didn't say it has zero value. And physical training also is a physical act that transcends into a spiritual act, because who you become is quite different. Like I say, getting in shape is a physical process, is a spiritual process disguised as a physical one, because who you become, the disciple that you become, the disciplined one you become, is more like Christ than the one who is not disciplined. One of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. Can you control yourself around cookies? Can you control yourself enough to get out of the bed and go do the workout you're supposed to do? Do you have enough mastery over yourself to do that? So stewardship requires that we take care of the temple. And the point in sharing this is not to be like, me, you're not doing it right. The point is that we're focusing on the things that move the needle the least for most of us. And I'm really trying to be as efficient as I can with the time I have. And if I can move the needle more and not focus on like minute details, and just really just take a sledgehammer to this stewardship thing and physical health, like 400% increase. Like I can diminish my risk by 400% by just getting on the treadmill. I'm in. And it means at some point, I don't have to be as strict on my diet. It could mean that for some people, right? So let's just think about this. Fitness changes risk by hundreds of percent. Diet tweaks usually change risk by single digits for most people. Unless you've got, everybody's going to be like, well, I know a lady who had cancer and she went on a carnivore diet. Great. I'm so glad they don't have cancer anymore. It's amazing. They still have to be fit. All you did was not get cancer. That doesn't mean you're not going to die earlier because you're not fit, right? Like we can't conflate the two. Stewardship means majoring on the levers that move the real markers of health. So build physical capacity as a foundation, clean up your diet to support that foundation, not as a substitute for it. The number of people I know who can bench press huge amounts of weight, they got their diet in order, but they could not run to save their lives. Hundreds of people probably. They're all over the internet. It's called Fit Girl Fit. It's where you got huge, you look great, you look fit, but go for a swim. They drown, right? It's not the same thing. That's not health. That's a part of health. If something improves measurable capacity, it matters. If something mainly improves certainty or identity, be cautious. Because that's what the diet debate really does. The diet debate has turned into, my Instagram handle is Mr. Carnivore Cornelius, right? I'm Carnivore Aurelius, the stoic steak eater. I am vegan girl 911, right? It's an identity. No one has the identity of I'm fit now and I'm not dying, right? Like it's just like nobody puts that in their handle. So we have to be really careful as Christians to focus on the things that actually matter. Don't major in the minors. Major in the things that move the needle majorly. Okay, let's focus on the things that matter most, and your health matters most. Is diet important? Yes. Have I talked about the dangers of ultra-processed food with clients and other people? Yes, absolutely. Does it mess with your hormones? Yes. But you know what messes with your hormones more? Being really out of shape. right? Like your testosterone will plummet the more sedentary you become. Add ultra processed food, you get a multiplier, right? But it's not the other way around. You're not going to like just start eating better and then all of a sudden be able to run a mile. It doesn't work that way. Running a mile will make you tend to eat better because of effort. And running a mile teaches your body what to do with the food properly. It's called nutrient partitioning. Use the food properly. When you don't exercise, but you still have a great diet, you're still not even using the food very well because you have no need for it. You literally are just surviving. You're keeping your organs moving and your pulse going. Okay, so I just really want to, in 2026, the number one thing you can do for your stewardship, for your discipleship, for your getting closer, becoming the person God needs you to be, for your family, for your church, for your community, is yes, pray, yes, fast, yes, get involved in the church. Of course, no brainer. Yes, work on your diet. But the number one thing you can do, the number one purchase that will change your life is a gym membership. Or like I have here, a home gym. You can see my breath. I'm in my garage. It's freezing outside. Can you see that? Maybe not. The camera might not pick it up. I have a heater right here. I work out in here every day. I went to jujitsu at 6 a.m. Not because I'm so great, but because it's 400%. It's that huge, right? So in 2026, let's major on the things that actually move the needle. Exercise, sleep, exercise. You gotta exercise. You gotta lift weights a couple times a week. Focus on multi-joint movements. Machines work great. As long as you're getting a high degree of effort and you're working most of the muscles in your body, you're gonna do great. If you need help with that, please DM me, email me at adam@adambro.com. I will help you, right? It's gonna be in the description. But you have to start doing cardio. You gotta be getting out of breath. You gotta be moving fast, getting heavy out of breath for short periods of time. And then you need low intensity, just getting moving, like walking at a brisk pace for 45 minutes on a treadmill or around your neighborhood to where you can hold a conversation, but you have to work at it, right? Those things are going to change your cardiorespiratory fitness and they're going to literally change your life. Okay. So are muscles important? Absolutely. They look great. They keep you fit. They make you strong. They keep you from getting injured. But at the end of the day, cardio makes you healthier. Okay. So let's focus on it this year. 2026, the number one purchase you can make is a gym membership. And if you do get that gym membership and you need a coach, please DM me directly, message me directly. I offer customized training for people who are just starting. I work with elderly people. I work with young people. I work with anybody who is serious about training and really wants to get it done. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's not about the mental, forgive this word, the mental masturbation of focusing on the diet and getting all the super complexities and should we be doing this and I need this many grams of that and all those things are great. But it's a distraction if you're not exercising. If you're not really working your muscles to where they're sore and getting out of breath and really focusing. Stretching, great. Not going to help you. Stretching's not going to make you live longer. Stretching is just going to make you bendy. Okay? So in 2026, let's focus on the real things. God loves you. God has a plan for your life. He needs you here. That's why you were born at this time. The odds of you being here are so astronomically not in your favor. It's almost incomputable. So the fact that you're here says that God has a purpose for you. He has a plan for you. He loves you. He wants you to thrive, but you have a part to play in that. Okay. So let's get out 2026. Let's own it. Let's get our diet straight. But more than that, let's just get as fit as we can within our context in 2026. Okay? God bless.